Ciao, homie.
Day one of the official Strongman Games has come to a conclusion, and it was about 8.5 hours of live stream. The one thing I will say is the live stream did cut out a few times, which is a little bit frustrating, especially for folks like me who are trying to put together detailed results for all of you to watch. But then again, I do work a day job, so I couldn't sit there and watch it in real time anyway. Um, Watching back at the recording now has been proving to work very well. So I'm here to give you all of the results for the official Strongman Games 2021 women in all weight classes. Let's get going. So we started off with the 64 kilogram and under women, and event one was the log press, as we have mentioned before. So the log press for the women, around 79 kilograms or 175 pounds. Big Laz, who together with Rodzi are doing an incredible job on commentary, mentioned that he only did 90 kilograms for 5 reps at the beginning of his career. So it's crazy that under 64 kilogram women are doing this weight in this particular competition, but it is considered a world championship, so you will see the weights being very challenging as we go through. The other caveat I'll give you is I tried my best to count all the reps for all the competitors, but as we mentioned in the prediction videos, they're 4 going at a time. It's difficult to count. Not to mention the camera zooms in on one competitor sometimes and you lose sight of the other one. So I did my best to give these counts. The commentary team is watching it the same way I am in real time. They don't have rep counters or anything, so it's just as difficult for them. And trying to piece together the information they were able to share with what I was able to see and count. I'll give you my best kind of guesstimate as to what I saw. I don't have all of the points. I have some of the points, the ones they shared, and then I have, I'll give you the performances or the actual reps done, so you can get an idea of how everybody compared to each other. So first and foremost, there were a few athletes I didn't see compete that were on the original competitor list. Rebecca Lorch, who I was really looking forward to seeing. I haven't seen her compete in the log press yet. Christina Bangma, who was 64 kilogram and under, ended up competing in the 73 kilogram new weight class. So that's why I don't have a performance for her here. You'll see it in that weight class. Moving up, Sherry Zimmerman, I didn't see either. And so then we move into the competitors who did compete. So as I said, they were groupings of 4. So Joanne Mulligan went in group 5, and she zeroed the log, unfortunately. There were a lot of zeros in the log across the weight classes, so you'll see that. And what happens is, just by getting 1 rep, you get a lot of points. Like some of them were getting 12.5 points for just 1 rep. Chloe Brennan zeroed the log as well. Moving up, Lori McDougall, who went in group 4, struggling to get a press. She actually went against Chloe Brennan. She zeroed as well. Morgan Quimby also went in group 4, also struggling to get 1 press after the clean. Some of the athletes may be more used to a full clean and press and then put it down and clean and press again. The press away may be a little bit of a different sort of format for some of them. Adrien Helgeson, 0 for her as well. She went in group 3. Jessica Wong zeroed the log as well. She was also in group 3. Siobhan Holdridge went in group 3. And at this point, I'm seeing, almost everyone put the log down after every rep. As I mentioned, I think they're just more used to full clean and presses. So it could be a fact of that, like they're more used to a full clean and press and not a clean and press away, meaning you clean it once and press it for as many reps off your chest as you can. Or it could just be the weight was heavy, like it was definitely heavy, so they may have wanted the rest. Hannah Coldiron, 0 for her as well. She went in group 2. Kim Scott, who I was really rooting for and is a great friend of my show, 0 for her as well, unfortunately. She also went in group 2. Joelle Pesci went in group 1, so in the first group, and she ended up zeroing the log. So as you can see, a lot of zeros here. Nadia Morrison, 0 as well in group 1. Cassandra Concepcion went in group 1, no reps. The log was looking huge for this weight class in general. Like, it looked like it was very a big diameter. Laz mentioned it being a 13-inch log, so very, very big for someone with a 64 kilogram and under frame. Then we have Jillian Funk, who finally comes away with 1 rep, the first person we see going up this list with 1 rep. She went in group 5. It was getting really hard to count the reps for me, as I mentioned, given all of the shifting camera focus. So not only are you trying to count 4 people at one time pressing at different times from each other, but when the camera sort of focused over to the right, and I know why they would do that. If someone's doing especially well in that group, you want to focus on them, but I'll put it this way. This much action is a great show for a fan, but it's not so great for someone who's trying to write down all the details for you, like I am. And they did mention that Jillian Funk sang the national anthem too, so that's pretty cool. One rep for Antonia Verrecchia. Well, if she were Italian, that's how you would pronounce it. She went in Group 4, struggled on a couple attempts, and then finally got one for a split second with a full look-through. So I put 1 here. I don't know if she was actually awarded that one. I didn't hear them mention it on the live stream, but she got it for a split second, got the look-through. Not really a full second, but who knows with this judging team how she would have been judged. And of course, I saw 4 different judges, each counting each competitor, Darren Sadler being one of them. Christine Matthews, great friend of the show, one of the very first people I ever interviewed who I always root very hard for. I saw her come away with 2 reps, so again, we didn't hear specifically, but she was the first athlete to get a rep. She went in Group 2, taking a couple steps back on both the reps, and it's just showing how big of a log this is for a 64-kilo competitor. Christine with 2 reps. Holly McRae comes away with 3 reps. She went in Group 3. Shannon Clifford, who you might remember from UK's Strongest Woman, was in Group 5. It was great to see her compete in her own weight class here as opposed to an open sort of weight class at UK's where she was punching above her weight, so to speak. So 6 reps here, an incredible performance for Shannon Clifford. She was using a jerk motion, so she had great reps, not a traditional push press. She was using jerks. She got 6, and I only saw 4 of them, so there you go with the camera angles I'm talking about. But they did mention she got 6, so I wrote that down. Rhiannon Lovelace, the very popular and very accomplished Rhiannon Lovelace, went in Group 5. She didn't put the log down for the whole 60 seconds, so did her reps and never put it down. Powerful, slower presses, so not jerking, like actual pressing, and tied for the lead with 6. And then we have Kate Connolly, who went in Group 2. She was very strong on the triceps to keep the presses stable after the clean. She's the only one I had seen up to that point actually clean away so far, meaning clean it and keep pressing without putting it down. She was in Group 2. The camera focused only on her for a while, so it was difficult to see the others in Group 2, but she did come away with 6 reps, and I think the first one to do so. So those were the performances in the 2021 official Strongman Games for Event 1, the log press, in the women's 64K and under weight class. Let's have a look at the 73K and under weight class now. And at this time, I'd like to let you know that this video is being sponsored by our good friends at Garage Gym Life Media. If you like some of the analysis I've done on domestic contests in the past and want to know some more about the fine folks who are putting together and streaming some of those contests, I'm going to let John Greaves III, the founder of Garage Gym Life Media, tell you a little more about it.
Training in a home gym, especially if you're training by yourself, can be tough because sometimes you just don't have the motivation to go in your garage or your basement and get it done. And that's why we stream competitions every month on the Garage Gym Life Media YouTube channel. I'm John Greaves III, founder of Garage Gym Life Media, and after 20 years of training in a home gym, I can tell you that there's some days when I just don't feel like training. And those are the days when I put on some sort of training video or other strength-related content to give me the extra motivation I need to get in there and get it done. There is nothing more motivating than seeing people achieving their goals at a powerlifting meet or a strongman competition. And that's why month after month, we provide that content to you right there in the comfort of your own home on our YouTube channel. Plus, we leave it up forever so you can always just throw it on in the background anytime you need that extra dose of motivation to get you going. And that's why if you're not already a subscriber to Garage Gym Life Media, I invite you to take advantage of this opportunity to add this powerful training tool into your arsenal, because I want you to succeed right there in the best gym in town.
And so you'll see zeros here too, and this is a running theme. So Janie James, 0, she went in Group 6. 0 for Sandra Wells, she went in Group 5. And I must mention the log press is around 84 kilos now, so as I said before, 1 rep is big points given all the zeros. Bobby Sundberg, a 0 as well in Group 4. 0 for Veronica Rulikova, she also went in Group 4. Christina Bangma, who had moved up to this weight class from what I was expecting her to compete in 64 kilogram, one of the greatest lightweights of all time, actually. So moved up a weight class here. I don't know if she missed weight or decided ahead of time to compete 73 because it's a new weight class and maybe fit her better. She's zeroed out here in Group 5. Laura Romilly, zeroed as well, went in Group 3. Megan Tomei, zeroed as well in Group 3. And as we work our way up, Taylor Woods in Group 3. So Group 3 didn't really perform that well. She also zeroed. Bailey Deschênes in Group 2, the balance of the log was sort of throwing her forward. And in Group 2, you started seeing this happening to multiple competitors. It was just a big unwieldy log for the 64s and 73 kilo weight classes. She zeroed as well. 0 for Allison Thorne. Same thing with the balance issue in Group 2. Caitlin Hesch went in Group 1. She struggled, did not get a rep. And then Rachel Greathead, she does get a rep. So she went in Group 5 and does get a rep. And as you can see, these are some of the points that they started revealing to us throughout the show. And again, they weren't, with Laz and Rodzi having to account for all of this action going on the same way I was without any computer help or rep counters or anything like that. They gave us what they could in terms of what they were seeing. And they did say that one rep here was worth 12.5 points. So that's because of all the zeros. Jordan Breach ties with 1 rep, 12.5 points. She went in Group 4. Megan Hogg, a very well-known American athlete here in US-based shows, 1 rep for her as well, 12.5 points. She went in Group 3, a solid controlled first rep. She was controlled all the way through, so she seemed very well practiced. She knew what she was capable of and was controlling the weight very well, just couldn't get a second rep, at least not that I saw. Christine Galvin comes away with 1 rep as well, 12.5 points, so a share of that 12.5 points. She went in Group 1. She got the 1 and was very visually happy about it. Couldn't get a second one after some attempts. Jessica Mitchell, another very, very good friend of the show who's been exceptionally successful in US-based shows recently. She recently got her pro card, both in USS and in Strongman Corporation. So Jessica's been on our show several times. You should check out those videos if you haven't yet. She went in Group 6. It was tough to see her from the camera angle that they had, but I think she got 2. It could have been 1 or 3. I put her down for 2 here. They didn't say for sure. Erin Walclett, pretty sure from what I saw that she got 2. Solid presses, and then no more after a couple attempts after that second rep. Lyndon Reed gets 3 reps, and they did mention that was worth 18 points, so she went in Group 5, strong pressing for her. And then Nancy Johnson, who was very recently on my show after her incredible performance at Nationals, 9 reps for Nancy Johnson worth 20 points. And there were not 20 athletes, so you're going to think, did somebody tie that? And yes, Erin Murray, who actually I was working on trying to get on the show right before OSG, and maybe we will do so after if she can make it. 9 reps for her as well. I could have sworn I saw 10, but they gave her 9. And 20 points split with Erin and Nancy. Erin Murray wearing the war paint, so I'll show you a photo of that. She's really ready to go to war, and she and Nancy certainly did on this event. And then Jody Kennedy ties for 20 points as well with also 9. She went in Group 4, so the first one to get those 9 reps, making that mark for the others to try to chase. She had super strong in the quads. Her technique was incredible, like a squat jerk. Really manhandled the weight. It didn't seem to deter her at all, and locked out a 10th rep, but it was right after the whistle, so they couldn't count it. So that's how it's split up. Those are the points they revealed to us, 20, 20, 20, which means second place or fourth place, however you look at it, would be 3 reps for 18, and that's how I worked out the math as well. So those were the 73 kilogram and under women in the log press. Let's have a look at the 82 kilogram and below women in the 2021 official Strongman Games log press. So starting off, Abigail Deal comes away out of Group 3 with a 0. Julia Tomaszewski comes away with 0 out of Group 2. Brittany Areola zeros as well. She also went in Group 2. Ashley Crawford went in Group 2 as well and zeros as well. Malin Anderson zeros out of the first group, Group 1. Samantha Gable zeros out of Group 1. Then we have Rebecca Cumsty, who you also will remember from UK's Strongest Woman. Very great performance there, and comes away with 3 reps here out of Group 3, and they didn't mention what those points are. Anna Vyusk, 4 reps for her, so she went in Group 2. She put each one of them back in her lap, and Laz and Radzi were talking about how maybe that's because she's not used to kind of the press away. I kind of lean more towards she wanted the little rest, but either way, 4 very powerful reps for her. 5 reps for Sandra Bradley, who we saw at WUS Dubai very recently. Very well known for she and Leifa Ingalls together being the first women to lift and carry the Husafell stone. You should check that out on YouTube if you can find it. And she went in Group 3 strong from the beginning. I was having a hard time keeping up at this point, as I said, just so much going on and a bit of shifting camera angles making it very hard. She almost got a sixth rep, kind of brushed her head and almost put it down on her head and couldn't quite get it. 7 reps to Hannah Brock. She also went in that group 3 with Sandra Bradley, so a very strong group there. Quite a sight to behold. An absolute machine all the way through all of her reps. And then Nadia Stowers ends up winning the 82 kilogram and below Women's 2021 Official Strongman Games Event 1 log press with an incredible 9 reps. It looked very easy for her. She was push pressing. She didn't even use any kind of jerks. It was easy all the way through for her. Just quite a sight to behold. Nadia, also a very, very good friend of the show, who we've had on before, and you should check out those videos if you haven't yet. But very proud to see how well Nadia did here, just really showing off to the whole world the incredible feats of overhead pressing strength that she's already showed to the U.S. So that being said, those are the 82 kilogram and below Women's 2021 Official Strongman Games log press results. Let's have a look at the open women. So starting off, we had Naomi Hadley, who zeroed in coming out of Group 5. This is now a 235-pound log, so getting extremely heavy. 0 for Sushani Gandhi, also out of that same Group 5. Jennifer Lyle went in Group 5 as well, and also a 0 for her. Jessie Niebuhr went in Group 4, and she zeroed the log as well. Brooke Souza came out in Group 4. She didn't make an attempt. She sort of took a bow, then was interviewed afterward and said how great the growth of Strong Woman has been, which, of course, we all support and all agree with. And at the end, she said, peace out. So I don't know if that means she's not doing the other events, so we'll see. Once I put together the car walk results, which also happened on day 1, we'll see if she competed there, and hopefully, I think I have some day 1 total points results, so maybe I can derive how many were car walk and how many were log press for you, given that we don't have a spreadsheet that I can find that actually lays that all out. But I do have day 1 results through one of my contacts, so we'll try to derive that for you, and you'll understand that I need some time to catch up to all this, and day 2 is probably going to start soon, and I'll still be compiling day 1, but we'll do everything we can to get you all the results as quickly as we can. Jackie Olszewski, also 0. She came out of Group 4. Anna Harjapa was in Group 3 and also zeroed the log. 0 for Jane Nafor. She was in Group 2. Jessica Putland went in Group 2. She had an equipment failure, which was crazy, where the height wasn't right, so she got another try. I think she still zeroed that as well. And then Cherry Muchindu went in Group 1, 0 for her as well. Julie Rader, 0 for her out of Group 1. So it gets you thinking on whether the first group sort of doesn't have a technique to copy from the other successful competitors. Maybe it's a little more difficult when you go first. But that being said, Stephanie Bisignano out of Group 1, also a 0. So we're seeing a pattern with Group 1. Gabby Dixon went in Group 3, and she was pretty successful with 2 reps there. Did very well. However, their Group 3 was pretty stacked. So we had Britta Maggard, who came away with 3 reps in Group 3. We had Rachel Flugel, who came away with 3 reps out of Group 2. Then we had Olga, who was in Group 4, Olga Lioschuk, who we've all been very, very eager to see compete. We've heard the legend, and now we get to see her compete. 5 reps for her. She came out of Group 4. Well, 5 reps from what I saw. Again, these aren't official. They look like 5 very good reps. She was really close on the 6th rep, but then had to dump it behind her head. Didn't quite get her, but this is going to be very good points once we find out what the points actually are. Rebecca Roberts, I saw also do 5 reps as well. She went in Group 2, very good pressing. She even held the log dangling as a rest, didn't even seem to put it down very often. So extremely strong. And Rebecca Roberts, you'll also remember from UK Strongest Woman. If I'm right, she came in second to Donna Moore there. So I'm expecting big things out of Rebecca Roberts here. So we'll see how she does. And then we have Annabelle Chapman, who's been extremely successful as of late. She ended up winning Wuss Dubai, as I recall, and then I think she won Britain's Strongest Woman a day or 2 later, right after she flew home. So incredible success for Annabelle as of late, and continuing here so far. 7 reps for her, and as I wrote down here, I saw 7, and then the recording skipped forward, so she might have done more that I didn't see, and I went back 3 times, and the recording keeps skipping forward. So sorry about that, but she did at least 7. And then we have Inez Carrasquillo, who came out of Group 3. Unbelievable nonstop power. They gave her 11, but I saw 12. And my buddy Big Las called her Inza. And he said, we gotta, we're gonna keep our eyes on her going forward. And Laz, we in the U.S. know who Inez Carrasquillo is. I gotta get you some detailed analysis that I did from the Rainier Classic, where she came in second to who I call the unbeatable Victoria Long, who I'm sure you have heard of. But yeah, Inez came in second to Victoria Long at the Rainier Classic. So she's been a monster as of late. And those of us in the U.S. know the legend of Inez Carrasquillo, and we knew she was going to do very, very well here. So that's how the Open Women shook out in the official Strongman Games 2021, Event 1, the Log Press. Lastly, let's have a look at the Masters. So, starting off with the Masters, there were also some athletes I didn't see compete that I did see on the athlete list. MJ Barnett, Lacey Hughes, and Courtney Albitron. So moving up, we have Samantha McLean, who had 0 coming out of Group 5. Heather Burgeon, 0 out of Group 5. She didn't attempt it. So there were some athletes who I think knew they couldn't do this challenging weight and didn't even try to tire themselves out, and Heather was one of them. Janet McGraw went in Group 5. No one in this group got 1, so Group 5 all struggled. Kiki Burley Johnson, who I consider, a good friend, and we've chatted back and forth, and I'm trying to make the time zones work to get her on for an interview, so I do root very hard for Kiki. She went in Group 5. She kind of just did the deadlift portion and then put it down in a controlled fashion, took a bow and walked away, maybe conserving her energy for events in the future where she feels she can do better. But I'm really rooting hard for Kiki Burley Johnson. Sanda Hager at a Group 4, 0 for her as well. 0 for Erin Williams at a Group 4. She just watched, so she didn't attempt it either. Marie V. Barrios, Group 4. She couldn't get the 1 rep, but then she ran over to support Kelly Jones after she knew she herself was out of gas. She wanted to kind of get Kelly Jones going, and we'll see how Kelly did in a moment. But the strongman camaraderie coming through in OSG this year. T. York, Group 3, she looked like she actually got injured and zeroed, so kind of backed away injured, maybe in the hips or something like that, so we'll see. Hopefully she's okay. Christy Stefanik zeros as well out of Group 3. Maria Krasinska, Group 2, she zeros as well, so quite a lot of zeros in the Masters. Sue Taylor Franklin zeros as well. She went in Group 2, also one of the ones who did not make an attempt, just kind of watched the others. Melanie Constantino zeros out of the first group, Group 1. Then we have Kelly New. She does get a rep, so she was in Group 3. No one in any class was really running to start this, except when we got to the 82 Nadia Stowers class. I saw them kind of rushing to get going, but I think a lot of the masters in the lower weight classes knew this is some heavy weight and we're not going to get tons and tons of reps anyway, so let's take our time and do the reps cleanly. So 1 rep for Kelly New, and as Laz and Rodzi were able to tell us here, that was good enough for 13.5 points here because of all the zeros. 1 rep for Carrie Ann Davis, who shares 13.5 points. She came out of Group 2, absolutely ecstatic to get her first rep, so very happy for Carrie Ann. And then we had Jessica Rush coming away with 2 reps, and now that's good enough for 15.5 points here. She came out of Group 3. I only saw 1, but she got 2, so again, probably a camera angle thing. Sam Taylor, who we saw in UK Strongest Woman as well. Great to see her competing again. Also with 2 reps and that share of 15.5 points. She came out of Group 2 and 2 strong reps for her. Kelly Jones does 4 reps here, so that's good enough for 17.5 points. So again, not that many reps getting big points here. Group 4, and she was clean and very confident in her pressing for her 4 reps. And then we have Aisha Ula, who also did 4 reps, shares 17.5 points here. She came out of Group 1, a solid clean with multiple presses. And we should mention, in the Masters, there's no weight class here. So, some of the ladies may be a little bit higher in body weight, able to stabilize themselves a little better under the log weight, which was the same weight as the 64 kilogram and below ladies were pressing. The Masters may be at a little bit higher body weight, able to stabilize themselves a bit better, and we've noticed that here. So those were the 2 top competitors, Kelly Jones and Aisha Ula, in the Masters Women 2021 Official Strongman Games Event 1, the log press. So hopefully you've enjoyed this detailed analysis of the 2021 Official Strongman Games first event, the log press, event number 1 for all of the women's classes. I'll be back again once I have the men's classes compiled for you, and of course, until then, ciao, homie.